The All About Nothing podcast might have language and content that is inappropriate for some. Listener discretion is advised. Recorded live from GOT Sound Studio, this is the All About Nothing podcast with Trent Clark, Zach King, and Barrett Gruber.
All right, welcome to the All About Nothing podcast. I'm Barrett Gruber, joined by Zach King, Trent Clark. Guys, welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, Barrett.
It's a good week.
Yeah.
We are joined by a special guest, Tim, who is a student, and he's actually working on doing a podcast. I guess it's a requirement for your class, right, Tim?
Yeah, it's a requirement for the class.
That's look.
I said this last week. Remember when I say Stanford might hit us up to come out and talk to their podcasting class? I told y'all this is what's happening.
Tim, you're in South Carolina, go to Stanford? It's a little far away, Trent.
So you saying Stanford don't have a podcasting class?
I'm just saying if you go to Stanford,
You haven't
you're
looked
not
it up?
flying across the country just to...
You haven't looked it up?
Stanford does have a media class, a broadcast media class in journalism, but
I guarantee you podcasting is part of that.
it might be. All right.
Where do you go to school, Tim?
I go to Liberty University in Lynchburg.
Okay,
That's awesome.
Nice.
Very cool.
And it's a doctoral program, and this is one of the requirements as a project to create a podcast.
You're on the verge of getting your doctorate.
Yes.
You are literally the smartest person we've ever had on the show. It's gotta be the case. I'm just gonna credit you with that.
Definitely a chance.
Just to do the business. Please subscribe to the show. Subscriptions drive the searches. That's how we get our new listeners. Also, please consider supporting us financially by supporting our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/theallaboutnothing. Also, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcast and you think we're worth it, go ahead and give us one of those 5-star reviews. And if you're not on Apple Podcast, give us one of those thumbs up and share the episode with all your family and friends because Zach's desperate and he needs the attention.
Yeah, it's not a big ask. Just like stuff.
It's definitely what he needs.
So Tim, welcome to the show. We're glad you could join us and check out what it is we do here. This
Glad
is
to be here.
I guess I've been doing this since 2017. I think I may have mentioned that to you when we were at the bike. So Tim and I met on Saturday. I was in the bike shop buying a new helmet because I don't know if you want to ding this, but I did get my Sondor's motorcycle finally.
I mean, we might as well. You've been talking about him for weeks and months.
Years.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years I've been waiting for this motorcycle to come in.
Which is crazy.
Did you see it out there?
Yeah, I saw it. It looked nice.
It's
Tim, you drive a bike, I take it.
I do.
You have a regular gas bike?
A regular gas bike.
So did you tell Barrett that's weak?
no.
He said not to his face.
What's going to happen is he's going to tell me, oh, my motorcycle gets 50 miles to the gallon and I can go 180 miles on it. And I'm going to go, well, I have to stop every 80. So
Barrett's like, watch my takeoff.
I mean, 80 miles on that little seat. I understand why you have to take a break.
That would be extremely.
That's a small
uncomfortable.
seat.
That seat is not comfortable. That seat, yeah.
What kind of bike do you have, Tim?
I have a Yamaha Striker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Nice.
How big is it?
It's about 1,400.
Oh my gosh, that's some power.
Yeah.
That is some power. I had a
Yamaha 125. So.
Man, that's a lot of power.
There was not a field in Chapin that didn't have some tire marks from Zach's.
I eventually got an XR 500, so
okay, all right. Well, I had a 650. I got a Suzuki SV 650, and I eventually had to get rid of it because I was stupid. I was too dangerous. I hadn't
had Barrett on two wheels.
I hadn't had that inevitable accident that everyone winds up having.
Barrett, if you don't start like an e-biker gang, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
Oh man, Nick's already trying to join them.
Yes,
Nick is trying to join them.
See, and here's the thing about having an electric motorcycle that makes no noise except for like a whiz. We'd all be ninjas.
That's
good drive-bys.
We would all
Just
be
spray
ninjas.
paint them jet black, wear all black. No one knows where you are. No reflectors, no nothing.
Tim, where are you from?
I'm originally from Florence area.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got family in Florence.
Okay. You live in Columbia now.
Yeah, I've been here about 14 years.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer.
What?
One of the jobs that'll never go out of style.
Yeah, it's always in demand. I got
ever.
So you're a director of a funeral home.
Yes.
That is
Insane. Right.
okay.
No, it's money hungry.
That's awesome, though.
I know the money's good.
I want to have you on longer than I think we're going to be able to.
Yeah, because
I think we're going to have to eventually have you back. So the funeral home you work at is in Columbia?
It's right up the street.
Wow.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it haunted?
Look at Barrett. He wants to take his gadgets and check
I have
and
some
see if it's
equipment.
haunted.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's haunted, but you do sometimes experience strange things.
Interesting.
And let's just remind Barrett, that's not where they died. That's just where the bodies went.
I understand.
Correct.
But I know what an attachment is.
Let me ask Tim a real question.
Okay.
You're from the Florence area.
Yep.
Puddin Swamp. Does that ring any bells to you? Puddin Swamp Road?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
Puddin Swamp Road.
when we had Justin on from Susto, he's from the Florence area.
Okay.
And he always talked about if you're from Florence, there's that argument whether it's Pudding Swamp or Puddin Swamp. And the GPS also doesn't know what to call it either.
So you say, direct me to Puddin Swamp, and it doesn't know.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask him the real question. You ever been, about to touch a body and it moves on its own? Like a twitch, like a nerve?
None of that.
Okay. Okay. Come on. They can still move. You seen a chicken move with his head cut off.
And most people ask questions like that, but for the most part, you might get a little bit of gas or something like that.
What does that gas smell
horrible. It's the worst smell that I've
I bet it
Zach is bad alive, so I can just imagine.
Come on, man.
It's horrible.
Don't put me on blast.
It's horrible.
Put your cell phone blast.
You always hear about the sometimes you can hear the body just go even out the mouth too.
Wow.
See, that's creepy.
So it's gas. It's air passing through the trachea. So
Wow.
any movement can cause that sound, or even if you're doing any certain type of technique after embalming, that's one of the ways that you know that you've actually cleared out some of the fluid.
Really?
Wow.
They'll start like whistling.
Oh,
Damn.
Lord.
What got?
But you just whistle back with them.
No.
Tim, you're coming off a little weird now.
Any man that works at a funeral home is gonna be a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Just a tad bit.
What got you into what led you to becoming a funeral home director?
Well, the crazy part about it, man, I've had so many freaking careers. I was in law enforcement for 11 and a half years.
Oh, wow.
And I always had a desire to be in mortuary science, and I always had a desire to be in law enforcement. So I really wanted to do everything.
Okay.
And I was just like, how in the world could I do it? So around, year 10, I went back to mortuary school, went to school in North Carolina. And once I graduated with my degree in mortuary science, I was like, man, forget this. I'm going to go try it. I'm going to go for it full force. So I just jumped in and started from there. But I literally, when I was in high school, I had a mentor that owned a funeral home. So I would literally just go up there and help him all the time. But my family really couldn't afford to send me to school.
Yeah.
So when I graduated high school, I was just like, man, I can't go to mortuary school because I ain't got nobody to make sure I'm good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I waited, went, and here it is. I graduated mortuary school in 2017.
Okay.
And I've been going hard ever since.
That's awesome, dude.
That is
cool.
That's really cool. And
Crazy.
and honestly, that's that. I had a friend in high school. He wanted to be a pathologist, and I asked, ultimately his reason to want to be a pathologist was because body's already dead. There's no way I can get malpractice if the body's already dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, that's extremely interesting. Man. I did want to give some shout outs before we get into the meat of the show. So shout out to Matt Villarbo for sitting in last week. Thank you, Matt, because he sat in while Trent was out.
Yeah. And then he didn't shout me out on Twitter. Me and Matt got to talk I got to talk to him, man.
A weird conversation, just me and Barrett.
He probably felt some type of way about me walking out.
No.
Welcome back to 2019. It was just me and Barrett.
He was good. So Super Bowl, did it go the way it went? The way I guess you two wanted it. No, you
It
didn't.
went the
You
way
were
I
Eagles.
picked, but Jalen Hurts showed out.
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
of course, he is.
1 passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns, and way more yards than Pat Mahomes. I'm just going dude, how did
They were supposed to win that game.
How did
I
they
suspect.
Well, it was that what was it, a pick or a fumble that Jalen Hurts did? And that was the only really mistake that they had.
It wasn't a pick, I could tell you that.
It was a fumble.
It was
I
a
think.
fumble.
It was a fumble.
Was
thought it was a fumble.
Yeah, I know it was. Yeah, I guess because I was looking at the stats today. That's just how I remembered it. But they didn't. I didn't know if they classified it as turnovers or not. So it must have been.
Yeah, it was just. I think that was the only turnover in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought there were 2. Maybe I'm wrong.
Turnover?
I was playing Hogwarts Legacy and then looking back at the Super Bowl.
So you was just make believe in what was happening.
I was listening.
Please tell me.
I dated myself.
Hold on.
My wife and child were
Abracadabra.
Hold on, no. I need to know: is your character on Hogwarts black? Because you have the choice of choosing a black person. And,
absolutely.
Okay, it's Black History.
Black.
Okay, good choice. Good choice.
Hold on.
Good choice.
No, I made him look like me.
No, it's no black people in Hogwarts.
He makes all of his characters look exact. Like we
Of
play
course.
Ghostbusters, and his looks just like him.
Yeah.
Mine looks like some giant like beard. Like I added the biggest beard.
He
you
looks
could
like
potentially-
Rasputin from Russia. Yeah. If he was a Ghostbuster, and I would somebody draw that.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm excited because as of today, all teams have pitchers and catchers have shown up for spring training. So the Braves reported on Monday. Yankees was yesterday. And did you see Aaron Judge is he's practicing at first base? That's kind of interesting.
Good for Aaron Judge.
All right. Well, anyway,
Still a Yankee.
I mean, you paid him all that money. He better be playing something.
They have
they are paying him a lot of money.
If you want to truly utilize Aaron Judge, you make him the catcher so he can check anyone trying to come home.
Correct.
Oh, he's got an arm.
Well, I'm talking about just laying into it.
You mean
level.
running into it? Yeah, he is
Biggest dude in baseball.
He is enormous. Okay, so
Have Pablo Sandoval come get him. That'd be funny.
for this first half question, what do we want to discuss first? You want to discuss the train derailment in Ohio, or do you want to talk about the U.F.O.s?
I think the U.F.O. is going to take us into part 2. Like, I think that could take up most of it.
Well, hold on. Let's ask our guest. Would you like to sit in on the U.F.O.s or the train derailment?
What interesting happened with the train derailment?
Well, if he doesn't
now
know,
it's
we can
news.
tell
I
him.
think that chooses right there because,
Yeah, we can definitely tell
All
him.
right. Well, so East Palestine, Ohio. Basically, it is a town of.
sorry. The fact that you don't know is part of the problem.
It's sort of part of the problem. It's
because
getting
they're not saying it.
Yeah, the news is like holding it back. Like, a lot of people aren't really covering it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched television in like.
Well, it should have hit your phone. Something
in any which
some
way. Yeah.
Somehow Twitter.
I still haven't gotten it. I had to go out and find it.
If I worked at a funeral home, I doubt I'd watch much TV either.
Yeah.
It's a doctoral program.
He's on there like look who's coming in next week.
That's true.
Look who's coming.
So February 23rd, 50 cars on a Norfolk Southern train line went off the tracks. 10 of the 50 derailed cars contained hazardous materials. Butyl acrylate? No.
I'm so glad you're reading this.
Yeah.
So glad.
Butyl acrylate, vinyl chloride. EPA also released
you can just call it vinyl chloride. I think that's the short.
Should we let the doctor read this? Let the
That is true.
there are legitimately some names of these things that I don't know what
Me
it is they
neither.
transport these.
That's a propyl alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, sure. There's a lot of acrylate on there. But some of this stuff causes headaches, nausea, respiratory problems. The authorities conducted a controlled release of the hazardous chemicals, which caused a huge black plume. That
Like, daunting.
enormous,
Yeah.
enormous. Evacuations were required, but were lifted last Wednesday on February 8th. Since then, many people that live within 3 to 5 miles of the derailment are experiencing burning sensations in their eyes. Animals are just dying. I mean, like dogs, cats, chickens, stuff like that. Strong odor still lingers in the town, and people are still being urged to stay in their homes. And then with indoor spaces, they should be cleaned, but carefully, as any concentration of this apparently is going to cause irritation that could potentially have long-lasting effects. So when this initially happened, yes, there was not a lot of attention that was given to it, which was sort of I questioned why it didn't get as much attention. And then this week, even after all the UFO stuff, what I recognized was there's a lot of attention being given to it. Because someone found out what the demographic of the town is. The demographic of the town is 93% white. And these are people that live in that Ohio area that work in mines and things like that. So it's a very blue-collared area. But the number of minorities that live in this town is extremely low. Now we're seeing a lot of attention.
Yeah.
It wasn't until people started questioning, okay, what's the population? What's the demographic? And then all of a sudden it just exploded. And now we're hearing about it almost nonstop.
Do we know what side of town it was on, the black side or the white side?
There isn't a black side.
Dude, this thing is mild.
There's no hood? There's no hood?
No, it's just it's a white, it's basically just a white village in Ohio.
What is weird about this? I recently watched that movie White Noise with Adam Driver. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
And that's all about a big toxic cloud looming over everybody, and everyone's having to leave their house and stuff like that. And I'm like, people have to be doing that right now in Ohio?
Yeah, they were forcing people. They were saying if people weren't leaving, they were taking people to jail.
Really?
For endangering kids and
there was a reporter
yourself.
There was a reporter who got arrested for reporting exactly what was going on. Like, he was in the middle of a broadcast, and I can't remember his name, but there was a TikTok video of it. And as soon as whoever the authorities inside the gym caught wind of what it was he was reporting on, they arrested him and they took him out.
Wow.
I mean, good, but because you have to take people who are going to put other people in danger and don't believe that they're actually in danger.
But he was technically just
he was reporting
on the story.
He was reporting the story.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's the reason why it hasn't been gotten. The story hasn't been gotten.
That's probably true. Yeah, don't take the reporter out.
Yeah.
Well, again, you might have to take the reporter out. He's like, I'm fine. I'm the news.
What are they recovering? I mean, they got to be covering up something.
That's so there is the potential
going to die.
with the way that
that's what I'm thinking too.
And that's part of the speculation is that the way that they actually conducted this release of the chemicals and then set it on fire. They think there's speculation, there's conspiracy, whatever, that some of the chemicals are not what they're saying they are.
Correct. That's what I'm thinking too. I think they're lying about the chemicals.
They are burning this off to get rid of the evidence because there is the potential that Norfolk Southern was the hazardous material potentially was hazardous material that should not have been going through towns. Like, this is any disruption, derailment like this, and this is the effect.
What time was it?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me look that up.
The cloud that came from this Joker?
Because if you think about it, and you look at the time of transportation, are they moving early in the morning when everybody's supposed to be asleep? So that we're not noticeable. We're getting through town.
Oh, yeah.
And then
less cars to get in front of them and stuff.
Right.
Well, and they speed through these towns.
Wow.
Shoot,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they go well over the speed limit that I would think would be safe. And I don't like even where I live. Just right 5 minutes from here, I see that's a CSX line.
Well, isn't it intentional? Is it
that's a
intentional?
great question.
Well, is it intentional?
Yeah.
Because they want to get the people out of the town.
9 p.m.
Expose the town.
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Before the monsters come out
Man.
of the train car.
9 p.m. They should be at home getting ready for night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and now they're being evacuated.
And you got to think about how long the train is. I don't know how long the train was.
It looked pretty long.
I didn't.
It was a 50-car line. 10 of them
That's
were.
so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and then there's like around White Rock area and stuff like that. There's places where the train tracks cut off people's houses. Like,
correct.
If that Joker stops or blows up, and it was a big worry back then as well.
That's why I was asking how close was the next thing that's close to it. Because think about if your house is directly behind it,
and that's your only way to get out. The train block, like that one. I keep picturing the one. It's like a whole little neighborhood. You could barely call it a neighborhood, but the one way out of it, train track. So if a train stopped there and exploded,
it's over.
What are you going to do? How are you going to get out?
Yeah, this is a town of about 4,700 people, and it's 50 miles to the northwest of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So you got Pittsburgh. So you got Pittsburgh here. It's like right here.
Shit, that's pretty.
4,700 people.
4,700.
That wind will take that
all the way to Pittsburgh.
All the way to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
They don't
for
care
sure.
about that.
I was thinking it could probably take it even farther just to pretend like the half-life or whatever you would call the chemicals that are in it. And if it rains it down, because acid rain's a big part they were talking about as well. Because vinyl chloride or whatever it's called, chlorine vinyl, that apparently turns into straight-up acid rain.
Yeah, well, and they're talking about rivers and creeks and whatnot that are already they're already seeing something like, I think they counted like 47,000 dead fish, and it's
The animals are dying.
yeah. They apparently people that have like chickens, oh yeah,
Definitely people next.
oh yeah, no, this is as
Resident Evil tasty itchy kind of stuff.
It definitely resonates.
this is where the clickers
Doom.
come from. Is that what
That's
you're
what I'm thinking of. Doom.
Yeah.
I remember the train derailment in Granitesville. What was that? That was probably like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
that was a bad one.
Yeah.
And
Well, you graduated high school 26 years ago, right? And then that was probably how many years later?
how long ago did I graduate?
26 years.
97. When did you graduate, Tim?
In 2001.
Oh my gosh, I'm still the oldest at the table.
2009, I graduated.
Huh?
Doesn't he look old? Look at Trent and tell him how old he looks.
He just said that. Come on, Tim. We're supposed to be on the same side, brother.
We are.
Come on. But I know what Tim was over here thinking. He was like, time to move business to Pittsburgh.
Well, it's really not worth it because he only got 4,700 people.
You're eventually going to reach. So you're going to reach the threshold.
So when you look at it, even from the standpoint of the accident, they can afford to lose 4,700 people.
Oh, I
not worry about it.
Look,
easily.
after Reconstruction in the South. Like that was one of the things that happened was there were towns that were black towns, right. And they disappeared off the map. Hell, North Carolina, literally, there's a county in North Carolina that still does not have a single African American resident because they were all put in buses in the 60s and never came back. I don't know which county it is, but I'd have to look that up. But that legitimately, hell, Wilmington, North Carolina.
I'm about to say Wilmington. I could definitely see.
It
Wilmington.
was that
Michael Jordan's hometown.
It was completely like the entire city council, the count, everything was all black elected officials, and then there was a literal coup by whites, and that ran. And what is Wilmington now?
It sounds like
Dawson's Creek,
the town. Sounds like Juneteenth, the Oklahoma's town.
Oh, very similar.
It was a town in Florida.
Yeah,
the same thing. And they raided the town and killed the majority of all the African Americans, except the ones that fled, and literally it disappeared.
Yeah, but I think that's the reason that this is getting as much attention as it is now is because
people calling it out.
Yeah, well, but it's not a minority town. Right. It's not a black town. It's not a Hispanic town. It's very white. So now it's getting all the attention.
Right.
People are so dumb.
And they were living good over there. 4,700 people.
Oh, man.
Nice, quiet town.
Hey, look, I know the price of eggs over there was cheap.
Man, they were 99 cents a dozen.
Yeah, like, they ain't got no problems.
No crime. It was fine.
Oh, yeah, it had to be.
Allow them to have gotten on some meth or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Ohio.
All over the news.
It's heroin.
Ohio, it's all heroin and fentanyl. Isn't it fentanyl?
Fentanyl is killing them.
Yes.
Heroin's what kills the white kids.
Yeah.
Fentanyl, too.
And fentanyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, fentanyl is definitely
I saw a statistic, and I think we're starting to see more as far as the political leaders and whatnot talking about it. But I saw a statistic that said 99% of the fentanyl that's coming into the United States isn't coming over from the southern border.
No.
It isn't coming over from Canada. It's literally people coming back from vacation and bringing it into the United States. They're it's people at them bringing it in themselves.
Fentanyl is so stupid because it's medical. It's for medicinal purposes only. Truly,
correct. Like I'm gonna let you finish what you're saying, but my friend literally went to the hospital the other day. He put it on Facebook, and he was like, the doctor said it was gonna give me fentanyl. I said, hell no, that's killing people. And she was like, no, this is the right. We know how much to give you. It ain't like
because with fentanyl, what do? They're cutting it into
heroin.
They're cutting it into heroin to expand the amount of heroin that's in it.
It's so volatile you can't touch it.
Yeah,
and it'll kill you.
Yeah, by police officers, if they suspect there's fentanyl, they literally will not touch. Right. Like gloves come on and they won't touch anything. That's
just so who decided if they die, they die. You're losing your customer base. Why are you cutting your shit with that?
Yeah.
That's
chase the next high.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I guess fentanyl has a stronger effect.
Well, people actually buy fentanyl. Like they don't not cut, but some people want fentanyl to actually take fentanyl.
Man, you're playing your cards so close. I don't get.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not
to each his own.
The idea of doing heroin does not appeal to me whatsoever. No. But like I'm going to do something worse, or I'm going to do something that isn't.
Stop at the needles at least. I'm not going to shoot myself in the arm.
What was it when I was a kid that they always talked about PCP, like PCP and acid. Those were.
Have you ripping bumpers off of cars and jumping over buildings?
I just remember.
And then Spice got real bad. Remember Spice? That Spice takeover?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember
synthetic weed or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and what there's a flower or an herb that literally grows everywhere in South Carolina along the interstates. Sativa, no, not sativa. That's marijuana.
Yeah.
You're talking about
salvia.
Salvia.
Yeah. But
that's not fun either.
Have you had that?
Salvia? Yeah.
I haven't.
I never heard of it.
Salvia.
It's legal because it's basically
you can't not grow it. Like it grows along the interstate,
like a weed
it's
almost.
Sold as incense.
Yeah.
But when you do it, you trip for no more than like 10 minutes.
Oh no! Did I tell you about the time I tripped on it?
Yes.
So both of y'all did it.
Yeah,
I did it in college, and I was like, I'm not doing that shit again. Get me out of here.
I thought that I went on like a week and a half long excursion through the jungle. And when I came out of it, I literally apologized to my friends that were there with me. I was like, I am so sorry that took so long. And they were like, you were gone for 2.5 minutes.
So you guys did the pass out game too, I'm sure.
I never. Okay, I tried
like on the wall.
I didn't pass out.
Yeah, I left it to the white boys, man.
That's how I got the gash. Hey, listen, that's how I got the gash in my eyebrow.
Really?
Did you really?
Oh man!
But it was some white friends that showed up.
Of course.
Yeah. We're good for that.
Always the instigators.
And so we got.
Was
home
that out of Florence?
Yep. And so we got home and we were trying it, and we were standing against the wall, and so my cousin was just doing the pass out game.
Yeah.
And instead of him catching me, when I came back through, I was just falling, but you didn't have activity. And I hit the edge of the table, and it cut my eyebrow open.
Man.
It's still there now.
Man.
Almost 40 years later.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
There are things that I've done where I don't. It's kind of like I don't like drinking to the point where I'm just trash drunk. I don't like the way I feel, and I don't like the way I feel afterwards.
Well, I'm kind of the same way with drinking, but with marijuana, I used to have a higher tolerance. But now I've taken like a break, so I don't smoke as much as I used to smoke. Like I used to smoke like once a day.
Hold on, after last week.
Oh no, not after last week. I'm saying in general, like at one point in time, whenever I was living with Ambria on Piney Grove, we were smoking like 4 or 5 blunts minimum a day.
That can get expensive, can't it?
Well, that was the work.
You were product tester.
Yeah, that was the work. You know what I'm saying? While you're waiting on somebody to come by, you know what I'm saying? It comes through. But now it's like
Tim's like, I got friends in Blue Point Places, Trent.
Business is about to boom.
7 years, man. 7 years ago.
Statute of limitations.
It's always,
we are both legitimate business owners now, so we're good.
There you go.
She's a tattoo owner. I mean, tattoo doer, and I do the DJing thing. I don't do anything else no more. But what I was saying basically is like I took a long break as far as like when I take these
stepping out of the cloud.
Yeah, I'm stepping out. So it's like I know now that even the weed is stronger now. So it's not even like how it was back in the day. Like I knew what I was smoking. The weed was I knew the type of high I'm getting.
Yeah.
Now the weed is looking better. It's way stronger. You get what I'm saying? So me normally smoking that blunt last week, I would have been okay.
Yeah.
I know now that I got to put that bitch out.
Yeah.
I cannot finish that bitch by myself. So, it just you live and you learn, man. See, they are growing in the lab. You're right.
If I smoke, I'd be crawling around here like Gollum.
I've never smoked before in my life.
Never.
Hey, man.
That's nice.
I just didn't like the way people around me.
I get it.
I feel you.
So I was just like,
it's people that get aggravating.
I like to be in control.
Yeah.
I like
100%. That's why I can't do like hallucinogenics. I don't want to. Stories have kept me off of it. I know, if I do it, I'm gonna have a bad trip because that's where my mind is at.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is gonna go bad.
If you're a warrior, it's not gonna be good for you.
Or you're gonna be on an Africa trip for 90 days.
Yeah,
mine was only like 5 seconds.
I'm gonna see the
like Barrett.
I'm gonna see this. Right. I'm gonna see the spirit plane.
Barrett was George of the Jungle for like a week straight.
And in that scenario, I had a machete. And what my friends described was I was literally sitting in the chair in my living room, just with my arm doing this the whole time.
God.
Were you cutting branches?
Yeah,
I
was in Costa Rica or something.
I was on a school bus with Gumby on my shoulder.
I had a friend thought he was a sunflower. He was a sunflower in a pot on top of a shelf, and there was a kid coming along knocking the sunflower pots off, and the kid kept getting closer and closer. So like at one point he's freaking out because he thinks that he's about to get knocked off of the shelf and he's going to die. At the end of it, he's laying on the ground just wiggling, and he comes out of it and he goes, Man, let me tell you, I was a sunflower, and I thought I was like, you know where you ended, right? Like, because you started in the chair and you're on the floor. He was like, yeah, the kid knocked me off. I was like, oh,
Man, you guys need a video for that.
Oh
yeah,
definitely.
This was before.
I'll never do it.
This
I've
was
only done it
before
once,
phones
I'll
had
never-
video
that's-
recording.
yeah.
That's how old we are.
That's right.
We were living in the moment.
Right.
Like they showed a picture of Michael Jordan. I mean, they showed a picture of Michael Jordan taking a final shot in the finals, and they showed LeBron James taking his shot for his to break the record.
Yeah.
And it's
All
nothing
cell
but phones.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, everybody was just looking.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair,
Mentally.
let's not give them the credit. Like, just living in the moment, they had no other option.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah.
Well, they had cameras back then.
Yeah, but everyone carried, like, if they had a camera, it was a 35 millimeter camera with a giant zoom. There was a press section. There was a press section for that.
Zach, you saying no, but you used to have one of those zip cameras.
They're not easy to come by.
Back when Jordan did what he did, ESPN didn't have like visuals that would go over the screen. They literally had a kid sitting in front of it with holding the no.
And how would you know? Like before the game started, they'd be like, Jordan might hit the career shot here, and that's just before the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know how long it take for a Polaroid to take the picture, then you got to shake it.
And it's gonna be shitty once you get done with it.
Yeah, but they knew LeBron was gonna hit that night. Like they knew
They didn't know when though.
They knew, yeah, but they knew he was going to.
So every possession LeBron had, he was like, "Oh, here it is. This could be it."
And plus,
and then they had the countdown on top.
Yeah, I saw
your
that.
Polaroids and your little disposable cameras and stuff. You know how awful that picture had to look from wherever you were sitting.
Oh, for sure.
Like you couldn't even tell that's Jordan. Be like, see that blur with the red on it?
Yeah.
That's Jordan.
Yeah,
he's actually shooting that shot
all the way from the top of the bleachers, all the way from the top of the rafters.
It just looks like a fuzzy basketball game in somebody's scrapbook right now.
That's right.
Oh, bro.
All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. Tim, do you have time to stay with us, or do you need to get going?
I'm going to try to stay.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk about our UFO situation after the break. This is the All About Nothing podcast.
Hi, this is Shiana, host of Who You Callin' Holistic, and you're listening to the All About Nothing podcast.
All right. Welcome back to the All About Nothing podcast. I'm Bear Gruber, joined by Zach King, Trent Clark, and we got Tim in here with us, who is on his road to a doctorate, but also is the funeral director for a very close. We're going to have some
Thompson.
Did you want to? Did you want him to tell it?
I thought you had said it in the first half.
I was gonna say. So I assume Thompson Funeral Home. I assume funeral homes do advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Bring your dead here.
hey, if you ever need anybody to do any voiceover work, we'd be happy to do that for you.
Yes, we'd love to have it.
We teased it before we went to break. We do. I guess we're gonna jump into this UFO thing.
All right.
Zach's got a little audio he wants to play.
Let's intro it for us.
Again, no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns.
The U.S. military is now detecting more items in the sky after changing radar settings in the wake of the Chinese spy balloon.
The military needs to have a plan to not only determine what's out there, but determine the dangers that go with it.
Let's test it, right?
Is this sort of bigger aperture picking up lots of stuff that has essentially been forgiven, sort of, around in the skies, whatever else it is, because it didn't pose a threat? Or is it part of something organized for whatever surveillance?
These unidentified aerial phenomena have been reported for many years without explanation or deep examination by the government. President Biden has changed all that. We are finally trying to understand them better.
It is the responsibility of the Department of Defense to be honest with the American public and to use AARO, which has been established to deal.
It's All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
Okay, AARO.
With the UAP and UFO issue to come forward and present the truth to the American public.
Jeremy Corbell is a documentary filmmaker.
What was splashed? Mark bearing and range.
He has released several images of UFOs, some of which have been verified by the U.S. government.
Civil society groups like the Mutual UFO Network,
MUFON.
Mr. Corbell and others have been collecting data on this issue for years.
Most recently, he released this image, which he claims shows the first UFO filmed by the U.S. military in a conflict zone.
Whoa.
What you see in this image is you see the first ever released U.S. military filmed UFO over a conflict zone that is officially designated UFO or UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena,
by the government,
that is actively being investigated.
The Department of Defense and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence declined to comment on this image. CNN has not independently verified its authenticity.
And it's called the Mosul Orb.
Mosul, Iraq.
Correct. Yeah, this is an image taken over northern Iraq. It's military filmed and it's part of active UFO investigations. The one difference is that it's over a conflict zone, which everybody should really think about that, the implications of what that means.
A recent report to Congress revealed the government cannot explain 171 of the UAPs reported to the military.
This is uncharted territory. We are topographers that are kind of mapping out a new territory. A lot of things are being learned and understood. This UFO phenomenon that they call UAP, this is now being destigmatized, so the reporting is getting better.
That's an interesting way of saying topographer.
What did he say? I didn't hear what the just.
I don't know. It just stuck out as an interesting way of saying topography or topographer or whatever.
We're topographized? Is that what he said?
Whatever.
Well, what's funny to me and trips me out about that whole thing is that the excuse is like we adjusted the lens on the camera.
Yeah, well, essentially, they increase the sensitivity on the radar, and that's what they're saying, and that's why they're starting to pick stuff up, and they did it specifically because I would guess that people were outraged at the idea that we weren't picking up on stuff before when the balloon. So the Chinese balloon entered over Alaska into Canada, entered from Canada into Montana, and then sailed its way across all the way to South Carolina, and then I mentioned this on What the Pod, where people asked, well, why didn't he shoot it down? But why didn't Biden order the shoot down earlier? And I said, well, because it didn't matter if he had done it before or if he had done it after this. Everybody was going to have a problem with it regardless. But the latest shoot downs of these, UAPs, UFOs, whatever.
He also janked up the name of UAP. Because it's unidentified aerial phenomenon. He said unidentified anomalous phenomenon.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
I was like, oh.
Well, also, just like we was talking about earlier about the 4,700 people they were willing to sacrifice. I think they were willing to sacrifice South Carolina. Come on.
Not to the balloon, bro. Come on, man.
What?
Let's not say let's say Myrtle Beach. Let's say Myrtle Beach.
Let's say, for instance, if it would have been a bomb in that bitch.
Let's just admit.
We would have cleared out.
Who here wouldn't sacrifice Myrtle Beach?
Hell no.
No one will come to
Y'all not about to do Myrtle Beach like that. Y'all don't about to do Myrtle Beach like that. That's basically, he from Myrtle Beach. This is Flow Town. It's right there. They're right
it's
there.
Not the same.
That is still a long drive.
They're pretty close to it, man.
That is still a long drive.
Well,
so
go ahead.
I was just going to say, so here's a description of the 3 UAPs or UFOs that have been shot down. So the first one that we found out last Friday was a cylindrical object that was shot down over the northern shore of Alaska near Dead Horse Bay. There has been no debris found. Not any. They have not found a single bit of debris from what was shot down, despite the fact that it happened within 10 miles of shore, and the crash site is completely frozen over. There's no water.
There'd be a hole.
There would be they would find a hole, or they would, something would have been found, because they had search crews out there within minutes of this thing supposedly hitting.
You believe
water.
that, Barrett?
And they didn't find nothing.
Do I believe that they didn't find anything?
I think
I'm saying what they didn't. They're saying they didn't find
exactly, because I'm thinking about this. Hunters go out there all the time hunting ducks and shooting ducks, and they're like far away from them, and they see them fall, and they can track down where that damn duck is,
or
their dog does.
So in the military's defense, though, this isn't like Juneau, Alaska. This is North Pole version of Alaska. Like, this is the top end of Alaska, on the edge of, you can see Russia from this end of Alaska.
Well, that is grade A horse crap, because
they should be able to spell it.
You tracked it in the air enough to let jet fighters scramble and come blow it out in the sky.
Yeah.
You keep the satellite pinned on it.
Well, not only that, but the pilots don't let that out of their eyes. They will fly around until they see it land.
I guarantee you, as soon as contact was made with it, helicopters were scrambling with people.
I suspect that the UAP, if it is extraterrestrial intelligence that operated this thing, I suspect that it did what other UAPs that we've seen in these other videos did,
phased
which
down.
was they submerged themselves. I think that the potential is that it could phase.
You said
through.
it was. If you're going between dimensions and stuff, but that's the spooky answer, right?
Yeah,
that's
correct.
the one nobody wants.
So where are you on this, Zach? Are you on you think it's UFOs, or do you think it's just something just flying?
It all depends. I don't think they've for one, if it was a UAP like you think, I don't see how they shot it down.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. All these years they've been saying we can't get it on camera, we can't touch it, and now all of a sudden y'all can shoot them down.
Well, and they also saying we weren't looking at the right lens on our camera. So the thing is so when the Chinese balloon came and we could see it, they couldn't deny it, right?
Right, correct.
And this crap has
it was
been
a second moon in the air, basically.
Yeah, so when we saw it, then they had to answer it, and then they canceled trips to China.
Right.
They do all this shit, and they're like, "Fuck China, we're not doing it."
Yeah.
But and this is off Jeremy Corbell's podcast, when they had this drone swarm from China over the USS Omaha, off the South China Sea, and they apparently came from this strait over there. They said, "Shut your mouth! It came from China. Don't worry about it. Nothing else. No one canceled anything. Nothing.
Right."
And they just shut it up. Now these other ones that they're shooting down that we don't know what they are because we didn't see it. Why are they being? Why? It just seems sketchy to me that they are not giving you the same information.
Correct.
I suspect that the current administration has to tag everything with, well, we shot it down, or it was shot down. And I think the reason they have to do that is because there was such outrage over this idea that they didn't shoot down the Chinese spy balloon when they had the opportunity, like over Montana or when it was over Alaska.
We had days to do it.
They knew when it launched. They knew this thing launched like 6 months ago in China, and then it made its way across the Strait of Alaska, and then into Alaska, and then across into Canada. They knew this thing was in the air well before it entered U.S. airspace.
Well, they were calling it a weather balloon at first.
Well, technically, that's technically what
they said it
was, but it had an array of antennas and cameras and things like that that could pinpoint people's cell phone. Like they could literally listen to your cell phone call.
So it was a TikTok balloon. I knew it.
Well, and the thing is too that this balloon, China was saying that they can't control it. It's a flat out lie. They absolutely could control it. They have people showing where it slows down directly over installations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we blew it down and it went into the ocean at Myrtle Beach in the Atlantic Ocean. I bet you we learned more about Chinese surveillance technology than they learned from what they got from us.
Chinese surveillance, their in atmosphere surveillance equipment is based on technology from 1983.
Yeah.
Like that's
supposedly too.
Well, if it's not broken, don't fix it, Barry. You know what I mean?
But who else says what's in there?
Agreed. I'm just saying
China has no copyright laws, so when they start making your iPhones and stuff like that, do not be snowed that they're just using out of date stuff. They got stuff.
Yeah. So the second one that was shot down, it was a cylindrical object again that was shot down over the Canadian Rockies and the Yukon. Same dimensions. Basically, it was a cylindrical object, roughly the size of like a Volkswagen Beetle.
We'll call it like Commander Favors saw with the Tic Tac shape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll say Tic Tac shape. Pilots have not been interviewed publicly, of course, because they're not going to. But there are rumors that after the mission and the object was shot down, the pilots experienced some tampering with their sensors and equipment. Apparently, they claim that the object did fall on land in the Yukon, and while the Canadian forces have been looking for it, they can't find it. They cannot find any debris. Nothing has been recovered again.
Well, here's the thing, too, because they were talking about how they reported messing with our instrument clusters and stuff like that. I always forget his name, but Jeremy Corbell and his co-host
George Knapp,
they were saying absolutely not. That's planted information. That there is absolutely no way any of these pilots have clearance at all to sit there and go back.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. If they're not talking, how did they get this information?
Somebody made some stuff up.
Yeah, just tell them no that something was crazy about our radar.
I'm not jumping to aliens, and I'm also not buying their crap that they didn't find it.
Yeah,
because there's also national security implications here.
Absolutely.
Apparently, what's for real is that there are Russian and Chinese ships off the coast
of the United States.
off of Alaska specifically too.
They apparently there was a Russian submarine which was off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. Like this was reported just today, I think, that there was a Russian sub that was off the coast. But
you don't see them shooting them down. Huh?
I don't think this has anything to do with like Russian trying to like push us over the edge or anything.
They don't have the time for it.
It's a stupid war.
Yeah,
like for Russia to.
They got a little time because of that earthquake.
Oh, in Turkey?
Yeah.
Well, I just don't. It doesn't make sense. Russia attacking the United States or provoking us doesn't make any sense.
I think it would be more joint with them being up there if they're truly experiencing this UAP phenomenon up there. I think it would be more we're all interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I saw it came from TikTok. Take it for what you will, but this man was dead serious, just talking. He saw a genuine military army personnel that's stationed in Alaska, and it was his own guy's video that he saw. I think it had gotten taken down, but he was saying 5 days before the first one was shot down that something weird's happening in Alaska.
Yeah,
and it makes sense.
Well, here's the third one. So this was first reported over Montana by radar. Pilots were sent to find the object that, according to radar blips, was similar in size and shape, but the pilots couldn't find it in the air. And when they went back, when they returned to base, it had disappeared off the radar. The object then reappeared, size and shape matching the radar blip previously, but now was over Lake Huron, which is about 800 miles away. From the first blip. When the pilots engaged the object, according to non-confirmed reports, and again, this is what was reported by the news, the object actually changed shape from a cylindrical object into an octagonal, so 8 sides, with individual cords and wires hanging off of it. And with all of these, there is no visible sign of propulsion. There's no visible evidence that of what it is that's keeping these things afloat, and despite all of the changes in directions and the distance from the ground. Like it goes up and they've gone up and down, they've changed speeds, but there's no evidence according to what's been reported. Again, as you said, George Knapp and Corbin, they've already said this is ridiculous. If this was actually happening, there's no way that pilots would be authorized to speak to anybody in the press. It wouldn't get any further than a filing.
Right. And when they come back down, that debrief is going to be so intense. And they're going to be,
for sure,
like threatened so much.
NDAs, all that's being signed.
Well, it's the military. Like,
I was going to say, it's just an NDA.
I guess they already signed that.
You want your paycheck, you get NDA.
Yeah, it's the NFD. Don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
That's the government.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, if you want to go weird about it, which every bit of my sci-fi nerd self wants to go weird about it, they're phasing between dimensions, right? Okay. Plane crashes. It's a piece that can communicate even blown apart. Just phase it back to the dimension side you were on.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay. So you're saying multiverse type stuff is what you're saying?
Absolutely. Well, dimensions, like we see in
like
3 dimensions. Like Mario don't know he's flat, right? He just sees his world as it is. We look at him, he has no idea we're there because he's only in 2, we're in 3. What if someone's in 4? We just can't perceive that 4th dimension.
Oh.
Ghosts. People think ghosts are actually just glitches of a 4th dimension or glitches of a if you want to go multiverse type of thing.
Believe in ghosts?
No. I'm a massive skeptic.
He actually doesn't believe anything.
You don't believe in spirits?
No. Just
interesting.
Yeah. So the way I came to so
I have a group called Midlands Paranormal Explorers that we will occasionally go out and do investigations in places. And Zach has said that he would go along, and I'm skeptical. While I believe that I have collected evidence that could support the theory that there are spirits or that, there is some sort of intelligence, which, could be potentially another dimension.
He can't put it out.
Well, one of them I couldn't.
I can't prove that it would be a dimension any more than I could say it was a ghost or any more than
sure.
I've seen some crazy things.
I've seen some crazy stuff too.
I want to know.
Yeah,
what's the craziest thing you've seen? You don't even want to talk about it on camera, huh?
One of the craziest things I've seen was when I was about maybe 10.
Okay.
Down in the country, we lived in the woods, and my uncle was a painter. And back then, they would wear painter outfits. It
sure,
was like,
yeah.
The white painter outfit with the white painter's hat.
Right, right.
That was what he wore every day. We were in the backyard playing, and we saw the image of him walking through the woods. So we were standing there, and it was in the middle of the day. And we were yelling, and we was calling his name Uncle Ronnie.
Was you and your brother?
Huh?
You and your brother, or who?
Me, my brother, and two of my cousins.
Okay.
And we were yelling his name, and
so you all saw him.
Yeah, and he just kept walking. We were like, "We know you hear us." And whatever it was, it stopped. And when it turned and looked at us, it had no face.
Whoa!
Oh my God!
You all saw this.
Yeah, we all saw that, and
that's creepy as hell.
And you still wanted to go into the business you in?
I mean, one thing I've learned, like in life, and my grandmother used to always say, you know, you can't allow fear to rule your life.
Oh yeah,
So
you're right.
Even with the industry that I'm in, do I experience things sometimes or see things out of my peripheral? I do. And that's a reality. But I know that spirits are real because simply, although we are humans, we're spiritual beings.
Yeah.
And because we're spiritual beings, there's a spiritual realm that exists outside of this realm that only our shell holds us hostage here for. Yeah. So as far as saying that it's our loved ones, I would say no. But as far as saying that there's other beings that are spiritual that is operating in this realm, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think spiritual, you could define that as anything else? So like I would say we said it was extra dimensional. You would also categorize that as spiritual, as a being operating outside of something you don't understand.
Because I mean, you think about it, we only see 2 of the heavens out of 3.
What is that?
So you see the first heaven, which is what you look up in the sky and you see.
Okay.
And then when you're in the plane, you go through that heaven. Then there's that other heaven, which is the second heaven,
like space.
And then you have the third heaven, which no humans can enter because we can't go that far.
Got you.
And everything that exists spiritually, I would say, is existing from out of the third heaven, and it mingles. But most people, like, they don't believe in like possessions and all that stuff like that. But when you understand possession, in order to operate in a realm that's governed by laws spiritually, then you have to possess a body in order to be in a earthly realm in Rome.
Gotcha.
So
potentially like tapping into an energy that
so so you see stuff, and like, I mean, I talk to dead people. So I mean, when I'm doing work, I'm going to talk to you and say, work with me. I want your family to, be pleased, and I want them to be satisfied. So I need you to work with me. I'm going to work with you.
Right.
And it's, at the end of the day, I know they're not there, but at the end, still it's just, you see crazy things.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's good to know, bro, because I always felt like, a lot of people, how, you got family, I got family, countrywide. So a saying when they say, "Oh, the body looks good."
Right.
You know what they mean by that. You know what I mean? Whoever was working on the body took time, was really trying to make them look exactly how they used to look. And for you to be able to sit here and say, "I'm talking to them, like, help me out," like, bro, that's a lot of care that you're doing. And I don't think a lot of people probably put the effort that you're putting in to your job. As far as like, because I've seen some people that look really bad.
Me too.
Really bad. It gets really bad in funerals. Like, I understand why some
ride motorcycles.
Listen, I mean,
no, I mean, you're talking about like, I'm not talking about as far as like makeup. I'm talking about as far as like, or road rage. I'm talking about like, they are dead. Nothing's wrong with their face, but whenever they come to the funeral, they look horrible as far as makeup or as far as like. They don't
look themselves. It's not natural.
I promise I don't have to have a funeral. I'm just going to get cremated. Nobody has to see my face. All right, Trent.
They want to see your face, Barrett.
Nobody wants to see.
They want to see your face.
I'll tell you what's kind of ironic is that you're here today on this day, which is 4 years to the day my dad passed away.
Wow.
So kind of even having that kind of conversation for a minute, still kind of like.
Yeah,
I'd give anything to go to that third heaven and talk to him.
Yeah,
I promise you.
But you know what? And I always tell people this right here, and I don't know how spiritual you are, and people would say, well, my loved one died and they're in heaven. But if you're a spiritual person, they're dead, but they're not in heaven. Even if you're a believer, or if you have faith, or you believe in God, or you believe in the Bible, they're not in heaven. If you study scripture, they're resting.
They're resting.
They're resting. So it's not. There is.
It's the end of days is when they'll go back. Right. They'll go up. Yeah.
So and then they won't stay then.
Yeah. Well, an experience. So
I was raised Christian, so that's how I was actually gonna be. God, the word just slipped from me.
Chaplain?
No, when I tried joining the military, I was going to be a chaplain, but there was the seminary. Seminary.
Oh, okay.
I went to seminary.
Yeah, you did. Okay,
I mean, my doctorate is my DMin.
You go to Liberty, so that's
it's in church revitalization. So.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Wow. We could have some interesting conversations, Tim.
So the experiences that I've had in doing investigations, paranormal investigations, that sort of thing. One of them that I can talk about because we did get the authorization was the Town Theater, which is across from the State House, which is just down the street from the Pink Episcopal Church. Mm-hmm. We went in there, and over the course of about 7-8 hours, we did collect evidence, and both audio and some visual, of interactions or like we were sitting in the dark and we knew we were the only ones in the building. Like we made sure we walked the entire building, cleared it out, made sure there was nobody else in there. All the doors are locked. We've got recordings of doors opening and shutting.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I have evidence. I have audio evidence of me literally walking down a hallway, holding the recording device, not even knowing that I was recording, had no intentions of trying to catch something, and getting a whisper where it says my name.
Right.
So I'm still skeptical that that's what it is. I want to be able to find the evidence, not necessarily to debunk what we found, but to be able to say, yeah, this is it. This is the evidence. This is somebody on another plane.
But they may not come talk to you.
Right.
You know, you want them to come and just talk to you and say, hey, listen, it's me. I'm here. But, you know, it's things like that. And I mean, even when I was in law enforcement, and a friend of mine was
continue.
Like on downtown Columbia, like Bull Street, at part of the property for the Department of Mental Health.
Oh yeah.
And
I can imagine what they
literally like walked into the building, that old church right downtown, and he said literally when they walked in, they heard someone playing the piano, but no one. They had to do security to check the building, but no one was in there. And the crazy part about it is, you know, I believe that stuff because I remember when I was maybe 16, I was at the funeral home, and my partner, which was my mentor, he left me there because the family was coming in for a visitation.
Yeah.
I was the only person in the funeral home. I know that I was the only person in the funeral home. They had an alarm on the back door that when you open the door, it sounds off to let you know somebody's coming in the back. And they had cameras also. So I heard the alarm went off that the door opened. So I'm looking at the cameras. I never seen anything. Never seen anything. Never seen anything. Never seen anything.
Yeah.
But while I'm watching the cameras, I literally heard something come down the hallway. I'm watching the cameras, open up the door to the office beside the office that I'm in. Open the door, close the door, but nothing is still seen on the cameras. Maybe 10 minutes later, he walked in through the back door, and I was like, hey, did somebody come in here? He was like, no. And I'm like, well, something came in here.
Yeah.
And it literally walked down the hallway, opened the door, closed the door, and most people were like, so why didn't you leave? Because I'm just a firm believer that if you allow whatever it is to scare you where you're at, you won't be able to return there. So, I mean,
don't let it control you.
Oh, I'm not gonna let it. No, I'm not.
I ain't gonna lie, man. It would have been grand opening, grand closing for me, dog. I'd have been out of there.
It's like mortician, not for me. I'm done.
I would have been like, yo, because like you saying, like I always think about that because you being a police officer. I'm like, yo, a lot of people just be hearing things, and you know what I'm saying, and they really can't explain it. So like you saying, that Bull Street, bro, I couldn't imagine being a cop and having to go up in that old Bull Street mental home.
I've been through it.
Let me tell you, I had a buddy of mine.
Sheesh.
Buddy of mine, Dwayne. He was one of the last orderlies to take.
That's what white people do for fun.
One of the prisoners out. So his last role with the Department of Corrections was that he was removing inmates, you know, mentally from there to move them up to Farrow Road. And when he was an orderly at Bull Street, he would talk. He said that he knows things were going on down there because, one, the inmates that were down on the bottom floor, he said when there were inmates still in there, that when they came in or when they checked on them at night, you would hear them screaming at night because of the things that they were seeing and hearing, and
because they're crazy.
Well, spirit, yeah, but I can't.
Come on,
everybody's
come on, Zach.
Am I the one who is out of line?
You believe
that the people in the insane asylum weren't fucking all together?
But have you ever seen somebody like back in the little town that I policed in, and I would go jogging or walking. And there was a little mental facility right across the street from a funeral home. Mm-hmm. And I lie to you not, when I would walk past there, it would be a guy standing every day looking across the street, talking to somebody, whoever it was, at the funeral home. But you don't see nobody.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that you see it, but then again, I don't see it. So I'm just like, all right.
Well,
I got work to do. You need to calm down.
I have to tell my one ghost story, I reckon, and it's very quick.
Well, I'll just say Dwayne told me, he said that when he was on duty, when he was on guard and he was having to guard that particular block, it would sound like the prison or the gate, the doors were opening and closing, even though he knows every hour he walks down there and checks them. Every single hour, he'd make sure that every single one of them was closed. But if he's in his shack at the end of the hallway, it would sound like they would click. It would be a whine as they opened up, and then a whine as it closed, and then a click as it locked.
Do you ever not have your phone in your pocket, and then you feel your leg vibrate, and you go to get it?
No, I never.
I haven't ever had that either.
It's a fucking lie. Come on.
No, I've never.
It's never happened.
It's called phantoms.
Yeah, I've never
had that.
So, so you've never done is my phone ringing? I think I hear my phone.
No, if anything, if somebody else's phone ringing in their pocket.
If you suss it out and it goes long enough, I'm telling you this is something, because there's auditory.
You're trying to make us believe something.
If the man hears the gate go all the time, you'll auditorily phantom that the gate will go.
Yeah, so basically, you're saying with the same thing about him in the back door. You're saying because he knows the back door and he knows nobody was there.
You're talking about audio or visual matrixing. Like
exactly.
Your mind creates what it perceives. Yeah, what it wants to.
There are so many variables.
So the hag never rode you before.
The what?
You never been in bed.
Never rode you before.
He doesn't know what you're talking about. Nah, it's called. Basically, you're in bed. You can't move, and literally
you look up and there's a ghost above you.
Well, no, not even.
No, you just
can't
down.
move.
You can't move.
You feel like you're paralyzed.
Those are called night terrors.
But have you ever heard it come in, and then it gets on you?
I wish this shit would happen.
You don't wish that would happen to you.
Listen,
it would prove something to me.
But let me tell you this, and this makes sound
night paralysis.
Night paralysis.
Let me tell you this, and this may sound crazy. I remember one night I was sleeping. I was sleeping in my bed, but I woke up, but I was still laying in the bed. Literally, it was like an out of body experience.
You were dreaming?
No, I was standing in the corner of my bedroom. I saw my bedroom door open, and I saw whatever it was walk in the bedroom, and it was coming to get on me in the bed. But when it saw me standing in the corner, it immediately jumped on
you
in the corner, and we wrestled. And then, I
want to make a movie out
I'm
of
a
this.
believer, so I was just saying Jesus.
Yeah.
And literally, once we finished, I was back in the bed, and I jumped up. It's crazy, man, but
I'm not disregarding any of it. I promise you that.
you just want it to happen to you.
Yeah, he got
to be able to say
he has to see it.
I am open.
He's one of those people. He has to see it for him to believe it.
And don't call me a doubting Thomas, because I swear.
No.
We just got to take you somewhere so you can experience it.
Yeah, man. Maybe an old black church
game.
Or Zach might Scooby Doo the whole damn thing. So who knows? But my ghost story is I'm not without a little bit. When in the house I was growing up in, it was a brand new built house, so there ain't nothing haunted there.
Well, that doesn't mean it.
Actually,
the wood could have been haunted. That tree was haunted.
So
that wood came from
Little Mountain Chapin. I guarantee you.
No, the land,
definitely haunted tree.
We bought the land. We bought the land from a guy who owned the land, but whoever actually had a house on it was like a child molester and blew the house up when he got found out.
That's enough energy.
And then also
nothing weird happened but this one.
And wasn't it a swastika on that road?
No,
you don't remember that?
Oh, homeboy at the way, not on my road, dude.
I thought it was on 3 Dog Road.
Oh, dude, that was like at least 2. No, not on 3 Dog.
What? It would come around the corner. It was right there.
You're a dude. And the one I'm talking about, he didn't advertise it.
First of all, it's Chapin. There's lots of swastikas.
Nah.
Was it an old plantation?
It looks like it. It looks like it from the road.
Where from? I don't know what the fuck Trent's talking about.
You talking about 3 Dog Road?
There was no swastika.
Yeah. So you didn't have.
There was a Nazi guy who lived like a mile down the road.
I'm trying to say, it wasn't a mile. It was on the same road.
It's not on 3 Dog, bro. I'm telling you
He
right
might have lived right off of it, but it was right there. Like I had to see it.
You saw it on the school bus?
No, it was on the damn sign, like the stop sign.
Visit South Carolina.
Are you talking about somebody like drew with a Sharpie on it?
Like spray paint? What you mean?
Trent is talking about vandalization.
I got it.
Hey, look, man, it looked like a swastika to me.
You're making it sound like someone hung a Nazi flag outside their house.
You don't know how many black people was hung on that land that you live in.
Say South Carolina.
This is South Carolina, man. You don't know where you're at.
Okay, Zach's got a.
Zach from South Carolina, Zach.
Zach's got a ghost story.
You're not originally from South Carolina?
Yes, I am.
Oh, so
he has to know that.
He knows history.
Like I know, bro. They used to have KKK meetings down down the street from me.
I am not here to defend Chapin.
Behind Winn-Dixie.
When I first moved here from Atlanta, one of the jokes was that Elgin or Lugoff. No, it was Lugoff.
No, Lugoff. I can definitely see that.
Lugoff. You can see Lugoff from space because of the cross burnings.
Listen, they used to burn them down there in the country.
Yeah, of course.
Like literally, they used to burn those crosses. I remember that when I was growing up.
Ku Klux Klan killed my grandma's
I'm gonna let
horse.
you finish your story though.
I'm sorry.
So
yes, I'm sorry.
The one creepy thing is someone did blow up a house, but by the time we got there, we just cleared it all out, and it was fine. We had a pool and everything. My parents built a big, nice house.
Build a pool over it.
No, there was already the pool. The pool was originally there.
Oh, so the pool. Oh, come on. You're supposed to build a new pool.
Trent swam in a haunted pool.
Damn right. Now I knew I almost died in that motherfucker a couple times.
Trent's like, I don't know, something's pushing me down. I'm just holding on to the wall.
Goddamn rape girls was trying to pull me down.
So my brother and I, we had rooms upstairs. His is over here. Ours was over here. Stairs, bathroom. The bathroom was bifurcated with like shower, bathroom. And then you go in here, you have 2 sinks, that kind of thing. You can close the door. I'm in my room, my brother's in his room, and all of a sudden I hear these drawers open and slam. I get up and I'm like, I'm going to go beat his ass because he's slamming drawers and I'm going to get in trouble for him doing that. I'm 18, he's like 14, and I open my door with my drumstick just to like threaten my brother, and my brother's opening his door to come hit me with something.
Oh, wow.
And we go in there, one drawer's halfway open and the other one's closed, and I was like, you heard that? He's like, I thought you were in here. I was going to come beat your ass. I was like, well, I was going to beat your ass.
That's interesting.
And it literally was. It was neither one of us.
So what more evidence do you need?
I wasn't there. I couldn't tell if it came from downstairs or upstairs. I just
see right now.
Where were your parents at?
Huh? I can't remember.
That wasn't man.
He can't look. He's not going to believe it because he didn't see the drawers slam themselves.
Do that shit in front of me.
He has to see the doors through like the.
I promised you, I'll change my
the Beauty and the Beast thing with the stuff moving by itself.
I guess.
Have you seen certain things that I just don't want to see?
Facts. I don't want to see that. No, hell no.
About it is, that's why on a movie we run.
I don't.
We don't look back.
Like if I was laying in my bed,
he means we run.
Black people run on the movie.
We run.
You're not gonna say, well, let me go check and see how. Let me see what.
Yeah, white
really
people go like chainsaw's not so sharp.
Hey, you remember that? What was that Allstate commercial that they got? They was like, let's hang behind the chainsaw.
Sure, give me more credit than the goddamn Allstate commercial.
Have you seen?
You came out with a drumstick. What was you really about to do?
Oh,
Have you seen the video that I recorded from the
flashlight?
The flashlight, yeah, the mag light. So that was a really interesting situation, and while I can't necessarily debunk that there was something else influencing this light, I don't. Basically, what it is a mag light that we turned almost off, sit it on top of a stage, and we recorded us asking questions, and it seemed like it potentially was responding to us from time.
Dimming and
it did respond.
Yeah,
I mean, but the thing is anything that's not normal for us will respond. Like when I tell you I've seen some things like that would sound crazy, and I'm not going to even lie. And this is a true story. We were on the way to DC maybe about 2 years ago, if that long. And we were driving to DC, and I got a phone call on Facebook Messenger. So I got a phone call from Facebook Messenger, which I normally don't answer. And once I finally saw it, the person was like, hey, listen, I need to call you. I was told that you're the person I need to call. So I gave them my phone number, and they called me. They was like, hey, listen, I got such and such going on with my spouse, and I don't know what it is. They walked in the house, and they haven't talked. They haven't said anything. They've been out of it for like the last 3 days. So I'm like, okay. I said, well, take the phone to wherever they are. So they took the phone to them and put them on speakerphone, and all I heard was just hard breathing. So I called his name, and I called his name. He didn't respond. And I called his name again. He didn't respond. So I called the third time, and the third time, whatever it was, said, he's not here. And it was in the tone that was like possession, and I was like,
didn't match his voice.
No. So I said to whatever it was, I said, okay. I said he's there. I said, but I just needed you to identify yourself.
Shit.
So I began to talk and literally talk, and I prayed. And when I finished, literally by the time I finished, he was on the other line, and it was him who was talking, and everything was fine. And he said that he was missing from home for like over a week.
Wow.
He said it was like whatever happened.
Time loss.
He said he was just like in a zone, like in a black hole, and he was like, I couldn't
like manifest.
Right. He said I could hear you. He says, but I couldn't respond because whatever it was holding me.
Yeah.
So
what makes someone susceptible to be taken like that?
I think a lot of times, I'm not gonna lie, it's we open ourselves to a spiritual realm with drugs and stuff. Yeah, because when you're hallucinating, you got to think you're the only beings that have been created that have the ability to function between two realities, spiritually and naturally,
or at least the ability to comprehend it.
We're the only ones. We're the only ones that were created in because you're a spiritual being in a natural body, but the natural body is just to house this realm. So when it's gone, it's gone. But spiritually, that soul has the ability to operate. It has dualism between both realms. You have access. Not even spirits have the access.
Right.
So it's just like
it's kind of like jealousy.
Yeah. So when you're tapping into like that different stuff like that, it's like
kicking the driver out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on.
There's a show. There's a show called Evil with Mike Coulter. He's from Columbia, South Carolina. Also played the Marvel superhero. Big black guy, Mike Coulter.
Oh, you're talking about yeah. I know who you're talking about. You're talking about crap.
Jessica Jones' boyfriend for a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's a show called Evil, which when you were talking about the thing over the bed coming at you and you were staring at it, that show has that happen to. The whole show's premise is Mike Coulter is trying to become a priest, and he has to go through all these trials and stuff to investigate for the Vatican. And the woman is a psychiatrist who's a secular person who doubts all the things that happen, these events that they go, exorcisms, all this stuff. But the psychiatrist woman has exactly what you talk about, where basically a demon, it's just like all creepy black thing, does exactly riding the witch or whatever you called it.
Wow.
It's exactly that. If you have Hulu, I think it's on Hulu, y'all should check that out.
Well, this has definitely been one of the most interesting conversations we've had on the show.
Gotta have him back.
Tim, we're not done with you.
Yeah, Tim, you got. We're gonna have you back because
we're gonna have some spirited debates because I do want to dig into just you and me talking and what could be about stuff. I think that would be fantastic.
You gotta get him and Shiana in the same room too. That'd be a great podcast.
It'd be really good. All right.
Thank you, Nick the Geek, engineer and producer, owner and operator of GOT Sound Studio. Check out details on how you can utilize his talent and production expertise at gotsoundstudio.com. Thanks to Muff the Producer. Follow him on Instagram at Muff the Producer. Thanks to Trent Clark, aka DJ Lonzo, currently serving as the house DJ at the Main Course in Columbia, South Carolina. Make sure to go by and have a good time. You can contact Trent for all your entertainment needs. Trent at theallaboutnothing.com and on Instagram at TheRealDJ Lonzo. On Twitter at DJ Lonzo Top 5. You can also phone him 803 803-262-7982. If you enjoy the show, consider becoming a patron by visiting our website and clicking at the link at the top of the browser that will take you to our Patreon page. You can find details on how you can become a supporter, or you can check out benefits there and just consider a donation so that we can continue to bring you this nonsense. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy you enjoying it. As always, you can follow us on Facebook. Just search for All About Nothing US, on Twitter and Instagram at AAN_pod, or you can find links to all of our social media and available podcast platforms by visiting theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be heard on the show, you may call and leave us a message, 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is too far apart, you can fill that time by checking out some of our partner podcasts. Zach and I host What the Pod Was That with Carrie Simmons. Visit whatthepodwasthat.com for links and details. Carrie and Chrissy host Status Macabre. You can find details at statusmacabre.com. Ami Bland takes a deep dive down the rabbit hole in episodes of Welcome to Wonderland, available on all of your podcast listening platforms. As well, you should check out our own DJ Lonzo's Top 5, hosted by Trent Clark, available on most of your podcast listening platforms.
That's going to do it for this week's episode of the All About Nothing podcast. Thank you, Trent. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Tim, for being here. This was fantastic.
Absolutely, Tim. Look at you. You just made a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like that.
All right, everybody, you all stay safe and,
have a week.
This The All About Nothing podcast is recorded live from the GOT Sound Studio in Columbia, South Carolina. The All About Nothing podcast is produced and engineered by Neek the Geek, owner and operator of GOT Sound Studio. To support the show, please visit theallaboutnothing.com for links to social media, merchandise, and more. Become a patron of the show by following the Patreon link at the top of our page. The All About Nothing podcast is an entertainment product of Barrett Gruber. Special thanks to Zach King, Trent Clark, Muff the producer, Neek the Geek, and you, our listeners. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share. If you're on YouTube, please hit the like button and the notification bell. Thank you for listening.
The All About Nothing podcast is a part of the GOT Podcast Network and a product of Barrett Gruber Entertainment and Media.